you mentioned One Vanderbilt being the fifth observation deck, and I'm curious because I got to experience the Edge at Hudson Yards in February.
Yes.
I'm curious if you have a favorite. I know you probably don't want to play favorites with New York City, but if you have a favorite observation deck and one that you would highly recommend to anybody.
Oh, Daniel, are you trying to get me in trouble? Um, no, it's you know what, I don't. I want to sound cliche either,
Yeah.
and not give you a proper answer, but I think all of them are my favorites because each of them are unique. The uniqueness of, for example, Top of the Rock. Top of the Rock is the vantage point of that it has, that it offers. You can take a photo, you can see the city from that vantage point, and you can see the city from, you can see Central Park from that location, and you can look down onto Empire, you can look at Empire State Building. Now, you can't take a picture of the Empire State Building from the Empire State Building, so Top of the Rock gives you that advantage. Then you go down, you travel down to the Empire State Building, which is the first. It's the first. It's the alpha. It's the one that everybody goes to for that classic view of New York City from that vantage point. Just be able to see the city from that vantage point. I mean, there's no other view that's that you can imagine because it is the first view in New York City from the Empire State Building. Then if you travel over to the west side and you go to the top of the Edge has a completely different vantage point. So now you're looking more so at the city from west to east, and you're also able to look at it from that vantage point of the north-south view. So you're looking at it from that angled view, which in and of itself, with having the outdoor platform out there, if you're afraid of heights and you're afraid of glass and looking down through the glass, you can, as the people, Christopher Rosenau and Haley Ward, who are at the Edge, say if you are afraid of heights and you don't want to do that, you can look at the same view, but having a cocktail inside of their restaurant. So there's that advantage. And then when you look at One World Observatory, there's no view that gives you that vantage point of looking from the south to the north, right? So you're looking from deep downtown, Lower Manhattan, looking up, and you're looking up at the Empire State Building. You're looking up at the Edge. You're looking up at Top of the Rock, and then you're going to be looking up soon at the summit of One Vanderbilt. Your view of looking at the Statue of Liberty is so much easier because the Statue of Liberty is just right there. So the views that you have are going to be very, very different. And then when you get to the summit, One Vanderbilt, which I was able to have a sneak peek this past summer. I was masked up. Believe me, I was very safe. We were all very safe. We were very mindful of that. I had a sneak peek of that, and that view, that one blows your mind because of the sense that you are that close, and you could actually almost feel like you could touch the Chrysler Building because it's that close to it. But then you're looking at the city from an east to a west vantage point. So all that to say is even though they're all different observation decks and observatories, they're different and unique, but they're in New York City. So that makes it even more special. And the vantage points that you get looking east from the summit, looking onto Brooklyn, looking onto your apartment in Brooklyn, in Queens also, is that much closer. So you could just feel like you could touch Queens and say, hey, look, I'm in Queens. So they all have uniqueness and special features that that makes it unique, which is why we love New York City.
Yeah, I had a feeling you weren't going to play a favorite on the question, but it was nice. It's nice to hear the perspective because you do see all. Just like for me being in the city for the past year, it has seemed to be improving since those first couple months, and seeing things open like One Vanderbilt very much dispels what I hear people say on social media and stuff about how New York City is dead. That seemed to be the big thing in those first few months. And so I have two more questions, and that's the first one. If you heard that, if you heard someone say New York City is dead, what would your reaction be, and what would your response be to that kind of statement?
It's kind of a tongue-in-cheek comment because when people say New York City is dead, it's like, well, at the time everybody was quarantined, a lockdown. So yes, so nothing's happening. But clearly, people who made those comments, it's almost to the point of, have you been outside? Have you walked around the city? Have you tried to go to MoMA? Have you tried to go to the Met? Have you tried to go to different museums or restaurants to go see and walk around the city? There is life in the city. The city is not dead. The city is quite vibrant. Things have been open in the city for a long time. Since last summer, things have been opening up in the city. I mean, there have been outdoor experiences that people have been able to take advantage of since last year. So it's one of those things where everybody's been stuck to their computers or their phones or whatever have you, but it's to the point of get outside, get away from your computer, put it down for a moment, put your phone down, and actually go outside and walk and take advantage of what the city has to offer. And then you'll realize and see that the city is not dead. There is actually life and activity taking place in the city every single day. And as we get closer to the warmer weather, people are out and about. I mean, people are out and about. People are actually going to the restaurants, sitting outside. There are many people who are taking advantage of the staycations. People are taking advantage of the neighborhood getaways. People moving around in the city. People doing things. People, it's one of those things that people are being very mindful of. And I think that's one key thing that locals and regional visitors and domestic visitors are really being mindful of, the fact of that how New York City has promoted the fact that we're safe and we're open.
This is Dan McCarthy, and you're listening to the Check-In Podcast.